Let's move on to Spurs, shall we? Who seem to be turning into a little bit of Juventus light, Gam. Bentancur, Kulusevski confirmed. I suppose if you were to put a negative slant on this, you would suggest that they didn't pull up many trees at Juventus. Why would they do so at Tottenham?
That's one way to look at it. I think, there's different reasons. I think Bentancur I thought was exceptional 2-3 years ago. Clearly lost his way, but, he's still a guy who's 24 years old, has nearly 50 caps for Uruguay. And clearly, you got to look at where are they operating, who are they replacing? And you look at Spurs midfield, the competition is Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks. So I think that is an upgrade there. Not an enormous price for a guy who's still, like I said, 24 years old. Kulusevski came over. He cost a lot of money when he came to Juve. It was Pirlo's Juve. He didn't really have a position. They struggled to figure out how exactly to use him because he has such an unusual skill set. Here's a guy who's tall and wiry and runs at people from wide positions. Is he an attacking midfielder? Is he a winger? Is he a forward? Is he a striker? I don't think that was ever really settled. With Allegri, he had less of an opportunity. Obviously, he still had Chiesa and Cuadrado and Dybala and people like that. So he's kind of on the outside. But, he's still only 21 years old. He's very raw. He's a big upside player. And again, from their perspective, Conte probably looks at this and says, man, I can turn this guy into a world beater. But even if he's not, again, the competition, once you get past Heung-min Son and Lucas Moura, he just needs to be better than Steven Bergwijn.
Spurs are the only team in this race for the top four that have actually brought in any players. Do they make a big enough difference to make you change your mind regarding as to whether or not they'll finish in a Champions League place?
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that they brought players in is for some of the reasons that Gab mentioned there in terms of player personnel, but also to appease, in some sense, a restless manager, and Antonio Conte, who is a top quality manager who knows that squad is not good enough. And listen, Kulusevski's a loan at the moment, and Bentancur, in today's market, that's not massive money.
Right.
For a guy with as many caps for Uruguay, with that experience at 24, I like this business from Tottenham. Kulusevski fits the bill because, yeah, it can be a bit frustrating because where's his best position? I think he'll probably play him wide-ish. But he fits the bill because he's a grafter, he's a worker. And if Conte says to him, go and run through those trees over there, he's going to go for it. He's not the slacker. He's not somebody who has to worry about attitude. And he might be able to start getting a tune out of him like what we saw in the early days of his transfer at Juventus. Bentancur is a good screen for the back line. He's very experienced for one so young. He has fallen off at Juventus. He's a good passer of the ball. He's not going to get you goals from middle of the park. His record will tell you that. But he's an upgrade. And I think, to your initial question to Gab was, they're not pulling up any trees at Juventus. No, but they are better than what Tottenham have.
Right.
And I think that is the key. And they're going to be working under a manager who clearly wants this club to be going on one way.
They're going to finish top four?
I think they've got a better chance now. I'm going to say yes-ish.
Yes-ish. That sounds
Man United
definitive.
worry me. I think West Ham will fall away.
Right.
Arsenal, there or thereabouts. Man United would concern me. There's more problems at that club off the field. We know. I'm not going to go into that. They could implode at any time. But I just think these two at least give Antonio Conte some extra bodies to pick from, some more experience, and some more pieces to the jigsaw. So I'm 50-50 on it. They have a much better chance. I think it's good business.
Obviously, for Arsenal, good business, I suppose, to get rid of Aubameyang, and you don't have to pay those big wages now for the rest of his contract, which is 18 months. Jules, the concern would be that nobody's come in. So what have you got? Nketiah and Lacazette up front as your main forwards for this push for a top four place. Why didn't they bring anybody in?
That's right. This is, I guess, the most disappointing fact of this transfer window for Arsenal is that I think they sold and let go the ones they wanted to let go. Aubameyang, of course, we mentioned, Callum Chambers, Wesley Maitland-Niles as well, for example, has gone. So on that level, for some clubs who've struggled to sell or to loan or to let go, they did well. The problem is, how come no one has come in? Okay, you can tell me we're saving the money for the summer to have a big summer like we did last summer and invest heavily in the kind of players that we want. It's easier in the summer than in January. Okay, I understand. But sometimes you just need to get bodies as well. We're talking about upgrades and who's an upgrade and who isn't. Sometimes it's also about the depth in your squad, whether the players that you sign are the similar level to the ones that you already have, but you need depth. Even if Arsenal obviously are only in one competition, which is the Premier League, so they have 17 games to go between now and the end of the season, and it's one a week, except the weeks where they would have to play the game in hands, which would have 2 a week. So, okay, I understand that your squad doesn't have to be huge because you're not going to have those many games to play. However, I still think it's disappointing that they didn't bring anyone in this month.
Have Tottenham moved the needle for you, Frank?
Tottenham?
Yeah.
Or Arsenal?
Arsenal haven't done anything.
Well,
Tottenham brought in 2 players.
yes, I'm totally with Craig on his analysis about Tottenham. I think they're getting closer to the 4th spot, and they will have to share it or fight for it with Manchester. But they signed 2 players who are warriors. We're going to give the best and make sure Tottenham is better. And it's definitely better than before those 2 signings. And I think, yeah, they're getting closer for me to tell surely that they're going to finish 4th or 5th. But I don't see Arsenal and West Ham being in front of them.
I think to go back to the Arsenal discussion, I think they've been so long now sorting out the loop of challenging, certainly for the Premier League, but, you know, even in European competition. I know it can be frustrating, but sometimes it's good business not to do bad business.
Okay, so don't just get bodies in
Well,
for the sake of
I
it.
understand Jules' point, and there's going to be a frustration from Arsenal fans as well. Well, they've signed somebody, they've said, why didn't we sign him? But they have chased their tail often enough, this club, and their recruitment in recent years has just not been very good, right? And they've been left behind, hence the fact they've been chasing their tail and chasing everybody else. So, you know, is there somebody out there that can improve their team? Probably. I mean, obviously there is. The whole thing with Tottenham is you look at the players they've brought in, and they're not chasing sort of bad money here. You know, one's a loan,
Yep.
and another one's a signing for it's not 100 million, and he's still a young guy in Bentancur. He's a hugely experienced international player, and they don't have it in that position. From Arsenal's perspective, I just feel, particularly off the back of Ozil and Aubameyang and 1 or 2 others, I think there's a reticence just to go out there and do business for the sake of doing it. It has to be smart business now,
Yep.
and maybe that's the reason they decided that, as Joe said, they're going to wait to the summer, because clearly that's what they're going to have to do now.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.